Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Her Story in 2024. I am your host, Dr. Q, Kaida Perron, and today's guest we have is Nye Brooks, and we also have kind of connected in a line of family connection. But she has agreed today for her to join us on sharing some of her energy and through energy exchange of her story and her and I connecting, as well as magnetizing herself. When you come into this channel, you will come in, like, share, subscribe, come in, and you can hit that like button. Um, when you're participating and adding that energy and or like, you are also doing an energy exchange and magnetizing yourself. Okay. So here at this particular channel, we do a lot of healing by way of upliftment, affirmations, sharing our stories by way of support systems throughout our communities, as well as the world, as for sharing this particular video. But today, here again, like I said, we have Nye. Nye, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Peace and blessings.
Ashe. So before um, the podcast, before it's previously recording,
Hmm.
you and I were kind of speaking. I like to run the podcast a little bit laxed because it allows you to be more vulnerable in your authentic space
Right.
and allows you to know, hey, this is a safe spot where you could be able to open up. Okay.
Okay.
Um, as for when the master has shown up, the student shows up, and through, if you are a mother, you also teach your children, you know.
Hmm.
For those who have not touched the stove but dared to touch the unknown, it is I. So I wanted to be able to break into an area where I feel comfortable and that allows other women to feel comfortable in their own femininity and their feminine energy to bring to the table of their story, of her story. We many times hear in society about this is a man's world or this is his story
Hmm.
in history, but we never really attach the thought of all the mundane things to put those things aside and say, hey, you know what? I need to pay attention to the feminine energy from which I came and show it homage and show respect for it.
Absolutely.
Um, because she's the vessel that was used to get you here.
Mm.
Whether or not she did right by you at the time of your birth coming in, I would hope that others would have allowed themselves to grow spiritually and to open up and address themselves and forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Forgive them, mother and father.
Hmm.
Because you notice that's what it says, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. But forgive them, Father and Mother, for they know not what they do. Because at some point, even though it is the Father, Mother, God, in the trine of things, you also have to never forget of the Holy Mother, Holy Father God, that there is a mother.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, let's talk about what we were talking about a little bit earlier,
Okay.
before we kind of interacted into the video of recording. And again, like, if you are joining us, thank you. This is New Soul Order Wellness Center, and you're more than welcome to contact me at New Soul Order Wellness Center at gmail.com. Come in, hit that like, share, subscribe button, and if anything here relates to you, please join us again. Feel free to contact me, and as well as if it doesn't, if it doesn't, don't try to make any of this information fit. If it doesn't fit, do not force it. Just relax and let it go. That is my motto.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So, with that being said, we were speaking about blood types
Mhm.
and how important that is for a mother to know about how her child's blood type is important during specific medical procedures and or just knowing period, because it's
Mhm.
important for you to know, just in case if you go somewhere and maybe for whatever it is, religious factors may take um, some sort of a dilemma within one's home or self, that the simple fact that, hey, I may or may not want to participate in the normal blood drive that they have. Can you
Yes.
use my specific blood, or can you utilize a synthetic type?
Mhm.
So it's always good to know exactly what it is, what type of blood type your child is, as well as yourself. So again, you were stating, what type of blood type do you have?
A positive.
A positive.
Mhm.
And with an A positive, because of the research and the intuitive information that I have accumulated over the amount of my studies, with an A type of a blood type, it's usually a trader's type of celestial, like trading in the marketing, not
Mhm.
trader, but
Right.
trading
Mhm.
in a marketing type of a celestial energy. Basically, in the heavens or celestial energies, it's a nurse. Okay, so and mothers are always usually a nurse, period. When you first become ill, who is the first person you run to is your parent, your mother.
Mhm.
You don't say, Dad, hey, I don't feel good. You say, Mom, I don't feel good.
Right.
I don't feel well. Can you please fix me up?
Mhm.
And so with that, you also, and how many children do you have?
Together, my husband and I, we have 8 altogether, but I have physically birthed 5 children.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
That's a big family there.
Yes.
Okay, so with that being said, um, you're the parent, you're the mother, the matriarch,
Mhm.
so you're the one that is responsible for everyone's setting up appointments, making sure that they're taken to the doctor on time, and so forth, correct?
Mhm. Absolutely.
Okay. So, with any of your children, are there any of your children's blood type that you do know?
Yes.
Okay.
So one in particular, our daughter, um, who in her younger years had to have a liver transplant, so she had a lot of medical issues, and there's a lot that I had to learn about her very early. So when you say the A positive blood type is the nurse of the celestial, I absolutely was tested through that during that process, and her blood type is AB positive.
Okay, okay. So with AB positive, okay, so that's a more of a less of a cosmic alchemist.
Hmm.
The cosmic alchemist is someone who can actually tap in to and receive different types of energy and be able to, master that alchemy just like that. When was her birth date?
August 4th.
Okay, so August 4th, yeah, and during a solar year, a solar month, a Leo,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
So it's a fire sign, and with fire, you want to she's it's about tapping into the passion, the creation, taking risks, any uh, adventures that she has to take, being able to balance the temperature and aggressions of how she gauges herself, how she utilizes her fiery energy, her tumo,
Hmm.
the tumo, the stomach fiery energy. Okay, and with that being said, mainly when it's the and it's a liver, right? Correct.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay,
Liver.
so with a kidney transplant for liver, most of the time when we go through life, we don't think about, we just think like all these are different types of ailments that we can accumulate. Cancer, arthritis, different types of lupus, different types of things that you think that you can accumulate or attain in some sort of a heritage type of a three hereditary trait.
Mhm.
You think that at the end of your life that, oh, this is going to be you're a healthy person,
Mhm.
versus a person who did or didn't attract any particular thing. Well, when a doctor at the end, when you're laying on that slab, we look at the liver. Okay, because when we grab the liver tells us everything. It tells you your whole story, really, basically. Other than
Mhm.
if it's a criminalistic felonious caper, other than you leaving the planet like that, then yes, we grab the liver and we can do chemical testing on that and make sure and test the bile and the gallbladder to see if, in fact, maybe this person has, what type of a life they live,
Mm.
or what was the last few minutes or moments of their life,
Right.
would entail of that. But when, like I said, and most of the time with those cosmic alchemists, they can get it right off if they know what the core issue is in its paternal or maternal instincts of, the core value of it. Um, so and it's mainly about, with the liver, when the liver gets bad, it's mainly about how we've intellectually processed things. Because
Mhm.
as so a man and or woman thinketh, so it becomes so. And
Mhm.
so because it sets into our own subtle body, then we become, either desensitized because we've taken a lot of that on, and victim consciousness, and, because either we don't feel loved, or fear-based reality, you know what I mean? And or once that trine has been broken up between the mother and the father with any of those children, that's when certain elements start to kind of break down if the mother doesn't help them with a spiritual internal compass, so that they'll know where to gravitate and how to gravitate and alchemize the things that happen to them and show up to life, and not allowing life to happen to them in such of a way. Because if they're not allowed to be able to express themselves, or us, even at some point when we were small young children, if in fact that we weren't allowed to speak,
Mhm.
then it stifled us, and it did not allow us to express ourselves, and we became this either a hurt person, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
versus someone being totally healed and saying, nope, I never had any of that. I
Right.
had a great family. We went to church. We believed in Jesus. And we totally had a good time, had a good life.
Mhm.
Somebody is not telling the truth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We all have trauma somewhere.
you know and where we have our own human design. This is our human design. I can't tell you how to live or work your vessel no more than I can tell you how to work the actual software of
Mhm.
you, the universe of you. But it's up to you to do the work. You have to do the work. You cannot ride on someone else's coattail unless, hey, that's what a husband and or woman has decided to make up in their own personal contractual agreement, saying, hey, I know you can't cook, but you're a good piece of ass.
Right.
Or I know you have I know you have big bank, but you're whacking me.
Right.
Or, whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
you know, whatever hang up that each and every single one person has about whatever it is, their insecurities. It's not for you to help to try to fix them. Your job is to fix you And in turn, within you, you will also fix your children, you will fix the people around you. And that's when people surround you with different types of energies, because they want help.
Absolutely. And it's that law of attraction, right? Once you start to become whole, you start to become a magnet
Yes.
to those who want to be healed, which can be a double-edged sword if you're not prepared for that type of magnetism and the type of people you will begin to attract who are looking for either a quick fix and they see that you may have it, or the people who are trying to see if you are as healed as you are portraying yourself to be. you know, you will get those tests as well.
Right.
And then the people who actually are drawn to you because they see something in you that they are attracted to and are looking for within themselves as well. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
But for the most part, and I do get that, and
Hmm.
some of it is because of such deep insecurities. That's my little lady over there trying to get over there, get out of the camera. Um, because of their insecurities and being ashamed, they hold that, because we're vibrational beings, they hold that within their own vibrational bodies and in their subtle body, and it starts to attach itself to the central vessel nervous system, and then the parasympathetic nervous system actually looks at it and says, "Oh, you're sad? We'll be sad too. We understand." And then you start to either become more dense and lower vibration in your energy, and you don't really attract all that what you want. And the point of the cause of laws and effect, to learn that positively, is to know that as so you speak it, so it can become so. And
Hmm.
if you speak ill of yourself, you become ill. If you say constantly that I'm tired, then you're going to be tired. If you're a high vibrational being and you just live good off of life, and you're just like everything, and everything you see is God. You know what I mean? Everything you
Hmm.
see is God. Everything is can be used for your growth. Okay. Not one of us can actually seriously say that we are done learning, because if you're done learning, then you might as well start to get your funeral arrangements, and get and start to making your arrangements, because it's either get busy living or get busy dying. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, so I do understand that at some point, when we talk, we do have some pretty good conversations about motherhood.
Hmm.
Now, this year is about the divine feminine and the mother matriarch. Now, how we deal and how well we mother and nurture our children, as well as us connecting all three and or seven generations to connect, to allow, um, I know it sounds kind of off for some, but it is, a natural thing that death is inevitable. And when the elders, or decide to pass away, we want to make sure that we have gotten all the necessary information from them, that we can, and so that when they're on the other side, they can also anchor us as ancestors. A lot of people do have issues with people giving thanks and homage to an ancestor, but when your mother or your father, who you really and truly did learn from, and you appreciate that, if they're not here any longer, that is your ancestor. And yes, you damn well, if you're celebrating the person's birthday or the family member's birthday, then yes, you're showing homage to your ancestor.
To your
So don't say that
ancestors.
you don't. Say that you don't show homage to your ancestor. So if
Hmm.
someone else is lighting some sage, or um, giving homage and dancing up and down, so be it.
I think it's the verbiage here, right? In North America, we have a huge issue with our original traditions. That's what I'll say. Um, so the labeling, so to speak, it's hard for some people to get past. But the actual act in itself is the same.
It is, but what is tradition compared to the, because we follow Western um,
Culture.
tradition and
Hmm.
culture. Uh, let's say the Afro Latino or the indigenous or Aboriginals,
Hmm.
the copper people have lost their knowledge, which became um, a dialect that became kind of delusional and actressy. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. It was basically a facade. It really wasn't something people can, just because you wear some bracelets does not mean that you're a spiritualist, or no more than someone saying, "Oh, I'm wearing a cross" versus an ankh. You
Right.
got to know that what they all carry and the energies that we all take on, as far as the characteristics and the parts that we play in each other's lives, and still realizing that, hey, in the end, we're still all interconnected. And we need to realize, like, hey, it's not a game. Okay. And at some point you can be the master of and head of your life, in the head of the dragon, if you do the work. But until then, you're still going to be in the tail end of things, in the tail of the dragon. And that's why other countries and other people in our own personal societies get ahead, a little bit more so than other people, because they're really just kind of lost. They really don't know where they are in life.
Yes.
Not just financially or physically, just, well, physically, but spiritually.
Spiritually. Hmm.
Mind, body, and spirit. And most of the time, because they're so used to being led by mother, sister, cousin, brother, pastor, that they really have just really lost their way. And I do, and right now, bringing that up to the question of judgment.
Hmm.
Okay, because and that's something that we spoke of earlier. A protege and I, about um, judgment and having discernment. Well, in order to have proper discernment in spirit, you have to be judgment. You have to be judgmental. You have to judge it. You have to gauge it. Test the spirit of it.
Hmm.
See if the fruits is high or low. And, you know, you want the high fruit. You don't want the low.
You don't want the low. Hmm.
Some people just are so lazy that they don't want to even do the work to go try to climb the tree to get the information, to try to get it, and grasp the information, to calibrate it, integrate it for their own self, versus them just picking it off of the ground, and or saying, hey, how many more you got? You got any for over here for me? You know what I mean? So, but because it's been judged as a man's world, with her story, it's a little bit different. It, I'm not gonna say it's a little bit different. It's a whole lot different.
A whole lot
Now
different.
today, I actually posted something, and this is my own words.
Hmm.
So if anybody says them or you hear it anywhere in a template or anywhere in the world, these are my words. So
Okay.
I was saying that the fact that she she is the world's greatest muse, and this is why he hated her.
Mm.
Yet the world loved her. You understand?
Yes.
And that is because you cry, you try, you first when you come into the world, you came into and out of her. You spend and go through a whole life trying to figure shit out, and you keep trying to run back to her.
Mm.
Yeah, whether it be your mama or your woman.
Well,
Well,
nine
nine
times out of
times out of
10,
10,
it
it
leads
leads
back to
back to
mother.
mother.
Let's
That's
talk
bing,
about
bing, 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 bing.
it. Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
it.
it.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, and on that note, like Eddie Murphy said, "Don't be a jivo. Don't be a jivo."
Yes.
Yes. You know, but uh, there's when we look at the matriarch energy,
Mhm.
man, that when you look at your mother, some mothers were there, and some were not. Now we have to still remember grandma. Man, grandma still. There's a lot of grandmas who also saved. Okay, so we do know that. And without grandma's guidance, because mama was still at some point, there was also some sort of a breakdown with mama and grandma. We just didn't know it. We
Right.
just thought grandma was holding us, big mama was holding us up
Mhm.
in certain areas, you know, just because she was big mama, but it wasn't that. They were all growing too, mama and daddy, and that's exactly why, it's the part of, because they wrote it in, the man-made wrote it in of, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, forgive thy mother and thy father, because that's also was an excuse a little bit too. It was for the child to be able to face respect and responsibility and discipline, but it also was that because, hey, that's why that other section was in there. Do not spare or spoil the child, because and provoke the child. Okay, because you have at some point, either you were a child that had been abused or hurt, and you brought that into an adult age and became a narcissist, or you became a pushover,
Mhm.
or you
A
became
people pleaser.
a people pleaser, or a warrior, or a martyr.
Mhm.
Yeah, a martyr. So how do you think that that makes everybody feel? If you think you got to die for other people's sins, or other people's um, criminalistic, felonious capers, like, oh, we laugh about the movie about where is it, Ada Pappy?
Right. Right. Life.
We laugh about that. We laugh about that, but it's true. Like everybody went down the line and was like, "Hey, we know that he's deaf, but he's not dumb.
Mhm.
A little naive, but he was dumb in a sense to think that they thought that he wasn't nobody gonna stand up for him. Everybody
Yeah.
did, you know. So everybody made them a martyr. That's a different thing, kind of, versus somebody saying you martyring yourself for a whole load of people who really didn't give a crap about you. It's
Mhm.
even like right now in the community, there's people that are probably dogging you out, dogging me out, that's talked about you, talked about me, and I really don't give two rats' ass. Because you know why? Because I am standing in my most authentic self and my truth. And what I have to offer to the planet and to the world is that of substance. I'm not arrogant, I'm not boastful, but one thing is this: one thing's for certain, and two things for sure, is that the fact that when I became more awakened in my being, I know what part I play. And I
Mhm.
know what strong areas I play within the planet, on the planet, within the planet, out the planet, above, beyond. Because I wanted to know me. I wanted to be able to show me, and love me, and share me with myself with someone.
Right.
Because you can't love and share love with other people if you don't share the love with yourself or be able to teach it to your babies.
Mm, that nurturing.
The nurturing, because you damn sure don't want to have to bring any of the old energy from the old relationship from mom and dad if it didn't work out to bring it into a relationship that did not work, because that template, you want to make sure that that template is shown. Hey, this is what black love is. This is what we're showing black love.
Absolutely. And nurturing starts with self.
Yes.
It's I think one of the most important things to teach our baby. You cannot love someone else and nurture someone else unless you know how to nurture and love self.
Mm-hmm.
It
Definitely.
absolutely starts with yourself.
And how do you love on yourself? By doing self-care.
My self care is, it starts with um, not my physical, but mental. So I like to take time to analyze where I am, my mental state, and I build from there. Um, if I'm having a hard day, I like to sit down and do self talk. That's my nurturing for myself. I think there's times where, like we spoke about earlier, you can kind of defeat yourself, mentally. Um, and I like to correct and check what type of energy I'm bringing forth, so that way I am in a constant state of manifesting positively. So I will I will nurture myself mentally, and then I work outward.
Mm-hmm. And so, what types of questions do you ask yourself?
The types of questions that I ask myself is, first and foremost, is this emotion that I'm feeling, is it authentic? Is it a surface level emotion? Am I dealing with past traumas that are trying to bring themselves back forward, that I need to take a moment and readdress? Speaking about that trauma can come up at any time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I I'm at a point now where I like to dig deep into, well, what is it that I'm hurt about, instead of saying, oh, I'm just angry in this moment, because we all know, when I can't say we all know, um, I have learned that anger is not really an emotion, it's a pacifier, right? There's something under there. You're hurt, um, you're anxious. A lot of times it's hurt though, right? So trying to get to the bottom of where I'm at, what's the purpose of um why I'm feeling a need to take a moment to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, as mothers, we tend to everyone else daily, right? And so a lot of times when I get to this place where I'm like, things are getting frustrating or I'm getting overwhelmed, I sit back and I realize you're feeling like this because you haven't checked in with self, right? Where are you in this moment? so, so being a young mother, I wasn't there. I
Mm-hmm.
just would be like, well, I'm just frustrated and everything's just so hard. No, no, no. You've been neglecting yourself,
Uh-huh.
and you are feeling overwhelmed because you're not giving yourself any nurturing. You're nurturing everybody else but you.
I could just hear it in my head, like, you can do it.
Right. Right.
Okay. So, and we do, and that can happen with us.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? The to deal with the everyday Monday, especially if you have kids that are in sports and they have to go to all these different types of activities,
Activities and
and you
practices.
forget to take care of yourself and do some real self care. I am a stickler for that. Um, I love to take and soak and do my spiritual baths.
Mhm.
I even make my own little packs. Uh oh, she wants to come back. I also make my own spiritual packs as well as specific steams, so to
Mhm.
speak, to get away from certain attachments. With I can help a lot of those with my clients that who do have certain issues with attachments with soul ties, and them not being able to really address their akashic records in the ways that they need,
Mm.
because they have already been blocked off either by way of the way that they think, or the natural foods that, or the not the natural but the foods that they have eaten that have calcified their pineal gland, and they have they just do not really focus, and they don't know how to have a proper diet structure, so that they can get themselves aligned to have proper alignment for themselves of their body structure as well as their life. you know
Mhm.
um, Actually being and taking control, being the head of your life, the head of the dragon. That's what they mean by that.
Yes.
So, um, being loyal to yourself. So, do you, with that being said, do you yourself make New Year's resolutions?
I don't typically make resolutions just for the new year. So I strive to make resolutions throughout the year, right? And I don't necessarily call them resolutions, but I make goals for myself throughout the year. Even things as far as I'm going to strive to be more positive, right? Or I'm going to strive to um, stop saying certain words, like taking certain words out of my vocabulary. Um, so there's things that I do just to keep myself growing, challenging myself all the time. It's never, I think, just a one time thing to only try at the beginning of the year. And my new year starts different than January. The new
Right,
year
right.
really ain't until about
I
March.
mean, right now we know that this is the winter solstice. We haven't really
Right.
hit March
Hmm.
as per the new year,
Right.
technically, because that's when things actually start to grow. Now,
Yes.
I love roses and flowers and plants and everything, so I still try to cultivate and keep those things within my energy.
Hmm.
I do know when I have become unattacked or unaligned with the moon phases and other things too. Now,
Hmm.
if it's something that I know that perfectly well that I can fix, that I know that spiritually for me, in tune, intuitive, um, it's about my own attitude, beatitude, of who I am, to get that straight, because that's my responsibility. But when you know your own energy, you know your own energy. But when you know that someone else is in actually energetically interfering in your life, or
Hmm.
throwing negative energy at you, you damn well know, you better know, you know where it's coming from. It's just that just because you don't say anything doesn't mean that some fact that you don't get any karma back, because karma is a bitch.
Ooh, depending on how you dress it.
It can be dressed pretty sexily.
Yes, you can.
That's what I heard.
Yes.
But uh, now, whether we're able to tap in to all of the elements of yourself,
Hmm.
to learn, your fire, your water, your air, learning all of your five elements and six senses and things of such. That's really your job, for you to know you and tap
Yes.
into you. Other than you celebrating your birthday, it's kind of useless to do that if you're going to be down here and not really trying to do the spiritual work for yourself. When they base everything off of the Vitruvian Man or the Star of David, you're not David. My anatomy is a little bit different.
That's
I'm sorry, that was not professional enough. I'm sorry.
okay.
But
You being
I'm a
you.
mother.
Absolutely.
Milk and honey. Okay. And I love being a feminine. I love being in my feminine energy. And I know what it do. And I know that,
Hmm.
hey, you can misutilize it. You can love on it. You can nourish it, grow it, dang right, you know, liberate it. I like the liberating
Yes.
one.
Yes. I love
I
the
like the
growing,
liberating one.
growing femininity.
Yes, the growing, not the
Hmm.
one that is oppressive. Um, and when I mean, not to really tell my age, but when I was younger, we knew who were the real feminine type,
Hmm.
and who versus the brawny. I guess that's what I'm gonna call it. The
Hmm.
brawny-ish type.
Yes.
We knew um, whether it was going to be a good friendship or not, because at some point, what's your objective? And are if they're a family member, you still want to unconditionally accept them, because
Right.
what can you do about it? You can't pick them.
No, no, you can't. You know, and for some, um, that feminine energy is harder to come into from, like we were speaking about earlier, that trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some women, it's easier to stand in that masculine energy, not wanting to be vulnerable, not wanting to surrender. Um, because who can you surrender your feminine energy to, or how can you surrender that energy if the people around you feel as though are there to take advantage of you? So it's
So
easier to stand masculine, right, than to be like, well, let me be vulnerable and just see who continues to take advantage of me.
well, yeah, you're right, but at some point, it's also because of some of the interim trauma that most women hold, and that's another podcast that I definitely am going to do. Was because when two people interact and he, ejaculates inside of
Hmm.
her, then he leaves his trauma. If he's not a well balanced person, he leaves his trauma up inside of her, and she becomes very masculine because she doesn't know how to process it, and she doesn't really understand him. And after about 3 days, she tries to call him, and he's all like, "Hey, I'm busy. I'm doing this in the street, this, that, and the third." But she really doesn't understand him. She's clashing with him. She doesn't understand him because she doesn't know how to process his trauma. Versus him also carrying her energy with him, and he's all emotional around some of his homeboys or friends or male friends, and they're all looking at him like, "What the heck's wrong with you, bro?" You know what I mean? And so, and so she doesn't really know how to process it, you
Hmm.
know. And so versus um her not knowing how to process it, and then they get into an argument because he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And this and that. And she's just trying to better understand you, and she doesn't really know how to approach you. She's really all manly and masculine. She doesn't know she's losing herself in her own feminine energy because of this.
Right.
Because you're not healthily practicing to learn to either become a curse breaker within your own family template, or you are not processing your own energy because you have a false construct about the people, place, or things, or what it means to be um, in possession of money, wealth, success, power, whatever
You
it is.
haven't surrendered either.
So, um, It could mean, it could lead up to a numerous of things. And a lot of women say that they wind up in survival mode.
Mhm.
And you want to come up out of survival mode. You don't necessarily need a man to help you to do that. You can do that by taking control of your own life. And if you say that you're an independent woman and you do all these things for yourself, then yes, that is something you definitely should be doing, is being the head of your life and stating, yes, I do this, this, and this, to take control of that, instead of saying, um, I need a man with a six-figure bank account, and
Mhm.
you're not actually bringing your energy to that level, because it's a level of receptivity. It's not because you just want these types of desires. It's not to say that you can't have it.
Right.
Okay, it's not to say that you can't have it. It's just that the simple fact that it's saying that you have to raise your vibration up to he or she's level of receptivity of that which thing that you desire. Okay, so I'm trying to be a millionaire. I don't know about other people, but me, I, so that I can be able to help and flourish and pass and help others. I'm telling you, my most authentic self wants to spread that type of energetic field, whether it's because it's energy.
It
Money isn't.
absolutely is.
Money is spiritual energy. Okay, and once you get a chance to know that through the laws of cause and effect and the 12 laws that govern our lives, yes, you'll be you'll be better off. And some people be like, well, how come you're not living in this big spectacular house? And how come you ain't doing this? Well, you know what? Everything is in divine timing. And just because you don't see things working out in my life in the ways that you think that it should work out, in the ways that you think it should, doesn't mean that it isn't working. And what is meant for me is meant for me,
It's meant for you.
not for you. And not
Mhm.
for you to be thinking that I don't want the best for you. Because if I win, you win. Because guess what? I'm going to do an energy exchange with you. And it's enough in the world, for in the universe, for everyone.
Absolutely.
It's just that they be thinking like, oh, I got to be this crab in a bucket. I gotta be this crab. I gotta be this crab in a bucket with the
Mhm.
crab mentality, and the monkey brain of thinking like he hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Oh, I don't do that, but you do that. You do hear that. You do, and you have seen it. It's just
Mhm.
that you don't want to. You know what I mean? For real, for real, for real.
Yeah.
So, um, with that being said, what did you have some questions that you had?
I did have a question for you. A few actually. I had written some down. I wanted to know, what would be your advice on anyone trying to heal and become more attuned with their divine feminine energy?
Oh my, that is an awesome question, especially for a divine and a divine feminine yourself coming through asking that. You know what? Whatever really truly makes you happy. Like when you're alone, or when you've come into the world, you know that you're a feminine, you know that you're a girl, you know you have feminine parts.
Hmm.
But what do you like? What is it that you like? You, even if you have to go back to a childhood to look at certain things that you really forgot to do, because it really is being light of a feather and versus the weighing in the scales.
The balance of
Whatever it is,
my
the yes, ma'am, my aunt. And whenever you look, and there she is, look there. There she is on the
Oh,
phone.
there she is. There
Right.
she
It's,
is.
it's ISIS, but she's still
Yes.
there. But it's still the balance.
Mhm.
So you go back and you look at those things for when you were a young child, all the things that you really, really loved and enjoyed that you didn't really get to experience and that you still might like to experience now. Do those types of things. Um, Also, try to love on yourself more. Like, do more, pick a specific day that you dedicate to yourself and you don't veer off for nothing. Nothing. Not even yourself.
Mhm.
There's days that my body aches and I really don't. I just want to lay down and chill and watch TV. But I work out 3 times a week. So if I go and work out, if I forget it, then my body pays for it later instead of me saying, oh, I just want to be lazy about it. Just when I thought that I was being in a mode of like, laxy daisy, I go to the grocery store the other day and a 70 something year old lady tells me that she had a job at 27 being a trainer and she actually just stuck with it her whole entire life and she worked
Mm.
out every single day. And I only do 3 times and I'm a doctor. I was
Wow.
like, I was like, wow, okay, okay. And she says, never take anybody with you when you go work out. Yeah, never take anyone with you because number one, it's kind of like I was saying, digress a little bit about the New Year's resolution
Mhm.
because most people say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna do this and this and that." Well, when you take other people to go with you, their dedication is not your dedication. Your contractual agreement with the place is not theirs; it's yours. And
It's
if they
yours.
decide not to they decided to lay on the couch that week, you still have the option to go ahead and go. You don't necessarily need anyone, and you weren't doing it for a partnership. You were actually doing it for yourself, and that's the partnership that you need to focus on is with yourself because you want to be able to love yourself, have more comfort, confidence for yourself to gain whatever it is within your spiritual being. You know, the more that the areas that you feel that you didn't or weren't able to tap into or work your own spiritual light, you can work in and tap into those. A lot of people are, that I've been speaking to lately have called me about dreams.
Mhm.
Do a dream book, right? As soon as you wake up in the morning, your visual of your heart center is the projector, it's the green screen. And you can see on the back of your eyelids as to of what your picture is as your movie projection. So you can wake up and write down exactly what it is that you saw or your dream and then leave it there, but also throughout the day be able to come back to it so that you can be able to like, hey, and I remember this. But those types of things can help you be able to tap in and more in tuned to your part of yourself. The more work you do for yourself like that, the more in tuned that you become into your Neptunic energy. Now, the planet Neptune is watery. It's like, big fish, little fish. Big bang, take little bang.
Mhm.
You ever see Big Mama? That's what she
Yeah.
called this.
Yeah. Right.
We don't really say, hey, our mama is little mama, but really she is.
She is. Mhm. Absolutely. You won't
And
say
I
that
have
to
a
her
cousin,
face,
even
but
though, God bless my uncles, so him and his wife, but that was his wife's name, Lil Mama.
mm, that's cute.
Anyway, but those types of things, I don't know if you I just do a lot of different things. Whatever it is that you think that you thought that can make you tap into yourself, I can help you with a lot of different types of direction. But I specifically take intuitive times for myself in days. And after I work out, I do ground myself. I do my affirmations every single day. I make sure that when I am bathing in any types of water, that I do proper affirmations that draw things to me. Like as I'm speaking now, if someone decides to come in and like, share, and subscribe, they also can be magnetized to whatever it is that he or she would like to do within goodness and in heart of the halls of my heart. It won't be that you can come here and magnetize yourself and think that you thought that you could go out and be utilized and get for narcissistic tendency. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Because this is a healing channel and it's about her story. And did I thank you? I
You
thanked you for you
did.
coming.
You
You
did. Yes,
did.
you did.
Yeah, but the divine energy that most of us are supposed to, exuberate is because of the way that we think. We're the critics, the worst critics of ourselves.
Yes.
So in order, the junk DNA is what you want to really try to open up. If you already think you know some good wisdom and knowledge now, if you open up the rest of that junk DNA that they claim is junk DNA, and I don't really like to call it that, but that's your spiritual DNA of your godhood, your God spiritual gifts. The more work you do for yourself, the more in tuned your gifts are, and the more spiritually in tuned you are with the universe, with the omniscience presence. Because we don't, the one reason why most people try to be like, oh, I'm not a man or I'm a woman, I'm binary, I'm this, I'm that. Well, it's not to say that they don't resonate with those, but I'll use Prince for an example. I love
Hmm.
him, but he utilized the energy of, I'm not your lover, I'm not your man, I am something that you'll never understand.
Hmm.
Well, that's because it's the omniscience presence energy. And if you don't know that it's really an androgenic energy and you can't really accept it in the full totality of it, then you won't really agree to that's what it is. You'll just be like, oh, I don't believe in that. That's this. That's God. That's witchcraft. That's this. I mean, that ain't God. That's this. Okay. Well, let that be the reason why you think that all the other religions aren't fighting each other, because they know that in the end, regardless of what they've written in their books as to be law, in the end, it all still leads to one
One
source.
God source. Hmm.
Meanwhile, in the back, the Pope is in there kneeling to uh, a
The
black
Black Madonna.
Madonna. So that's gonna be another story for her story.
That is a whole nother podcast for sure.
Okay, and we want to make sure that we get in the algorithm somewhere.
Yes. Yes.
Even if we do or we don't, we can still spread this by word of knowledge, and somebody can actually learn from this.
Absolutely.
Okay, but um, most of the time when we do these, it's to be able to, like I said, is to offer a space, a healthy space for you to be able to share your story, be vulnerable, open up, be able to heal, find some healing modalities. Like I said, as far as any types of divine energy, to be able to open yourself up, listen to some meditation frequencies. You know, um, I just saw 543 is a good one. 540, 542, 543, 343. Those types of things that can actually open you up. But there are some divine feminine frequencies besides the normal chakra alignments that can help you. The divine feminine energy, oh my gosh. especially the ones like Sophia. They're lovely.
Mm.
I experienced one last night and I shared it with my protege. He's a gentleman, but I shared it with him and he was kind of laughing at me because I told him, I said, hey, I woke up with a little bit of bag, so I'm going to have to talk to you later. And he was just like, well, what happened? And he said, you must have had some sort of a release. I said, well, the thing about it is that I did a meditation frequency and it was very powerful. It said it was powerful. It very much well was because when
Mm.
I slept with the video, I mean, when I slept with the headphones on, I woke up and my eyes were puddles.
Mm.
Yes, they were puddles. So I did release a lot of the negative energy. Oh my gosh. So it does
Wow.
work. It does work. If you would like, I'll send it to you.
Please, please do. Please do.
I would recommend you tell people how powerful it is. Tell them that it even had the practitioner's eyes wet. She was crying, like, oh my God. Oh my God, Sal, please. Now, but I do enjoy that making sure that, tapping in, actually doing the work. You know what I'm saying? It makes you feel good when you do the work and you can actually see it actively working in your life. I really do.
Yes, it
I
does.
really do like it. You know, I I I do call myself a doctor, but every now and then I like to say practitioner sometimes, because like you're practicing on yourself.
Mm.
Well, I practice on myself. I don't know about him. Before I give any advice or do anything for anyone, I do it for me so that I know, hey, don't follow that. It's not
Right.
a good method. You know, I
I mean, but
know
that is great practice to be able to have experience in what it is that you are sharing.
it is, but we are having the great human experience. We're
Mm-hmm.
all spiritual beings having a human experience, number one. Number two, um, that's the point of being a blazer.
Absolutely.
When you're a trailblazer or a pioneer, you definitely want to make sure that, hey, you're actually telling people, hey, this is a good platform versus, hey, that's a cliff over there. Watch out over there. That's a Lulu. When you come here, I want you to know that when you come here, you're coming here to get some healing, some spiritual work. And I'm not going to be an Oprah where you get a car, you get a car, and you get a car, but you're definitely going to get healed somewhere. You know, when you least expect it, you think that you thought that soon as you think that it's not going to work, you will. It will work. You just have to have faith. You know, I believed in that little mustard seed. Whether mother, sister, cousin, brother, pastor has ever led me to it or showed me about it, it
Mm-hmm.
just was always in my heart. And I saw my divine blueprint when I was 13.
Mm.
So, on that note, to notice whether you can activate your divine blueprint, that's another podcast. But I'm going to give some information now. When you're asleep, you can see. Have you ever seen like little colors on the back of your eyelids?
Yes.
You're sleeping, you see little different, just moving around. Well, if you focus, keep your focus, you can actually see darkness and you can see stars.
Mm.
Yes, ma'am. That is you. That's the inside of you. Okay. And when you see that, sometimes if you just look up, to the very right. Your eyes are closed, but look up to the very right. You'll see a thumbprint. Okay?
Wow.
You have to be very, very in tuned in sight to see this. It'll be a thumbprint up there. Okay? Imagination is your greatest gift in thought. So you want to imagine yourself putting your thumb on that blueprint, on that thumbprint. It will lead you to your divine destiny, to what it is that you're supposed to have as far as your divine blueprint.
Wow.
Okay?
I'm so glad you brought that up. And thank you again for having me because I was going to also ask you about creativity and the feminine divine energy. So, yes, you answered the question without me having to ask.
Oh,
Thank you. Yes.
well, you know what? I'll add something else for creativity. You know,
Okay.
because you're the mother, and it's about us having the baby within us in the amniotic
Mhm.
the water. And when we go to the hospital, we have this baby, and the doc comes in at the docking station with your ship because you're the
Mhm.
mother ship of your baby.
Yes.
So when you come in, we got this birth certificate, we signing it, okay?
Mhm.
The water, the creativity, the mother part is the pingala. That's the creativity part of the feminine energy.
Mhm.
And that's another reason why the male energy is because they're more like protection, logic. It's not to say that they don't have intuition, it's just that mother's intuition is more of a nemesis than a male's intuition. And so because it's about the water of the docking of where you came from and your feelings and how you know when you first came in. But if you take vitamins like spirulina and things of such like algae, seaweeds, those
Mhm.
types of things, those can definitely help you to tap into some of those uh, junk DNAs, and or it can also help you with a lot of your gut health. Um, your it can also help with PMS and a lot of the premenstrual syndromes when most can be handled by different types of yoni steams and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
mainly the spirulina, and because we're made from water, we want to be able to partake in a lot of greenage. When I started to do more spirulina and different types of vitamins, I was able to tap in with my artistry there.
Wow.
hmm Now I did like to draw, but it wasn't well refined and defined as such.
Mm.
But once I did and was able to open up, um, then I was able to tap into other areas. Some of it you think that it is scary because you've never experienced it. You never know what's going to happen. But if someone doesn't have a support system, you can kind of I'm not gonna use the word of going off the rocker, so to speak, but look. But
Right.
um, you definitely need a support system during your spiritual journey. You can do it by yourself, but it's a lot easier when you have other people who know about certain things that can help you. Not every one of us knows everything. That's why certain people, if a doctor, like next time when you go to the doctor, ask them, hey, do you believe in astrology? Ask the doctor if you're really in tune with the doctor or whatever. Just
Mhm.
ask the doctor if they're in tune with astrology. And if they say no, or they don't really, just I'm not saying that they're really not a freaking doctor and they're not in tune with their own monadic structure, but they're not. Because A real doctor has to be in tune with mind, body, spirit. And in order to do that, you have to be a person who studies astrology. Why the hell else do you think that they ask you for your date of birth and your name and birth date when you and your social security number when you go to the freaking doctor?
Right.
You know, it's no different than them saying, "Hey, yeah, we got his social security number, and yeah, we're gonna write. Yeah, he was over here at the doctor at such and such on a such and such date on a such and such time, and we just so happen to write it on a manifest."
Mm,
Hello, for those who
mm.
have an ear to hear about the maritime laws. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's how that goes. But to be divine, you already are. You just have to step into your full power of your highest potential of who you are. Like most people, they laugh and they talk crazy about Shiva and all the arms and hands and Shakti, and they can get upset about it. They can talk shit about it. But the point of all those hands was to be able to tell you about all the principles and hats and
Yes.
characteristics that you wear. You standing in the different personas of yourself.
Of yourself.
And I loved them when I was a kid. I cannot not I love and embrace my own heritage. You know, we are. If I went out there right now, um, they would mostly look at me as a black body, not
Hmm.
somebody that's saying, "Hey, she came from her heritage came from Panama," or they're indigenous. They wouldn't have never contributed that type of a culture. Their thing is more or less like she's a black person, and that's all that matters to the other cultures is that the fact that they could label you and you don't even know your own self,
Right.
you know. And therefore we have made ourselves a forgotten people by being a crab in the bucket, by not being able to share the information in the ways that it's supposed to. And that's one reason why I love being a world server, to be able to share the information in the ways that I know how. And like I stated, when people come in here into any of my channels, I want to make sure that it is a magnetized type of an energy so that he or she can be able to gain something from it, heal themselves, as well as be able to apply it to their lives and take it to other people so that they can be able to also be well healed and also magnetize themselves within the energy so that they could be able to attract all that their heart's desires that is within their reach if they do the work.
Mm, absolutely.
You know, got to do the work. But with that being said, I so much appreciate you again, Nye. I do. And I would love to have you on the show again or on the channel. But I definitely appreciate you. I really do.
Thank you. I enjoyed myself. It was wonderful being on your podcast. So thank you again for having me.
Yes.
Anytime you want me on, let me know.
I will. I will. Um, One thing that I want to do ask, and that is, um, how do you celebrate yourself?
How do I celebrate myself? I celebrate myself in quietness. I love to sit still with myself, um, and have positive self talk. I will sometimes play my favorite music and dance by myself just to find um, and really sit in that peace
Uh-huh.
of wherever I am at that moment. So that is my celebration for me. That still, that calm. And sometimes it shows up as laughter. It may seem crazy if anyone ever sees me because I'm by myself when I do. I'll just
And
bust out laughing, or start dancing. I really take the time to just be like, embracing that feeling of accomplishment or joy. I don't need anybody around to do it.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because anytime that you can celebrate yourself, that's a good thing. And laugh at yourself sometimes, even when you know that it really was a mistake, but you really, you know what I mean? Laughter is one of the greatest healing modalities, things to do. And also, when you are dancing, not just do it for 5-10 minutes, do it for over 30 minutes, because then that also raises your vibration. And when your vibration is higher, you're at a more of a receiving level to receive those things for which your heart truly desires.
Mm,
You know? But
yeah.
I appreciate you again, once again. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Bless you. Bless you. Thank you for coming on. And thank you for all who have joined us. And like I stated before, come in, like, share, subscribe. If there's something here that you can relate to, leave a comment. Let us know how you think about the show, as well as if there isn't anything here that did not touch or address anything that you thought that was healing for you. Do not address it. Do not try to make it fit if it does not. Okay? If it doesn't fit, you must
You must have
quit. Not
quit.
just not just going. No, I'm going to stick with my motto. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. Just relax and let it go. Okay?
Hmm.
And with that being said, thank you, Nye.
Thank you. Have a
All
good
right.
night.
Bless you.